You're listening to the Youth Critic Podcast on KHZ Network. Find us on Facebook at Decibel UNG Radio and find us on Twitter at Decibel UNG. If you like this episode, please leave a like and comment on our iTunes page at KHZ Network. And now for the podcast.
A perfect world.
These are for you.
Thanks, honey. They're beautiful.
A perfect life.
I would do anything for my girl. I love you, Lisa.
I love you, Johnny.
He provides for you. Darling, you can't support yourself.
I don't love him anymore. He didn't get his promotion. And he got drunk last night. And he hit me.
It's not true. I did not hit her. Well, maybe you should have a girl, Mark.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Youth Critic Podcast. I am your host, Kaul Smith. Joining me today is Gina Aversa.
Oh, hi, Kaul. That was my Tommy impression.
That was your Tommy impression?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Gene.
Mm-hmm.
Today we are going to be talking about The Room. It's sort of a retrospective, but it's not. I guess I've done retrospective on newer films, but it's still like 15 years old, so we're kind of
right.
So look at this as both a retrospective and a room that's also going to kind of preview the Disaster Artist podcast next week.
Yeah.
But so before we get started, Gene, do you want to talk about like how did you become familiar with The Room?
Well, The Room I always sort of knew in the back of my head. Like early 2000s, I remember Adult Swim would always play it during April Fools. That was their April Fool's prank for a couple of years. And, you know, I never like watched it all the way through. Maybe I watched a few scenes like when I was younger watching Adult Swim. And I was always like weirdly curious about it. And then about like maybe two or 3 years ago, some friends took me to a live screening. And that was like when I first saw it, and so if you've been to the live screening, it's like the modern day Rocky Horror Picture Show revivals. Mm-hmm. People are throwing spoons, yelling water. They yell spoons whenever you see a spoon in the shot because there's random picture frames with photos of spoons, which is we'll get into the backstory later of some of the things.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just wild. And, you know, it was the first time I saw it and I fell in love with it. I think I've done maybe been to 2 or 3 other screenings. I owned the movie. And, yeah, my friends were always talking about it. So I just had to go and, you know, fell in love with it. So I don't know if The Room has like it's an official title for fans, like a nickname, but I'm a Room fan. So
yeah, my introduction to this was I discovered the movie through I think it was a Reels channel. Do you remember that before it got taken over?
Oh yeah,
they did a whole segment on it, and I was just like. And I was kind of fascinated by it, and then I saw like the some clips of on YouTube through the riff tracks, and I think the Nostalgia Critic and a couple other people did some reviews around that time. So I found out from there, but then I didn't really watch it until about 2 or 3 years ago. I think I actually was doing the podcast even then when I went to a riff tracks live screening.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So that was your first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like we're called Roomies. Maybe that's maybe the title.
Okay. All right.
Maybe.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was yeah, you know, it's whenever you see it, either if it's like live or not live, excuse me, you see it in an audience or like a riff tracks. It's just, you have to see it with a group of people or like someone commentating on it. That's the ideal thing to see it with.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
Yeah, I was rewatching it on my own this time around, and I mean, it's still funny, and it's still like I can still like do jokes in my head as I'm watching the movie, but you cannot take this seriously. It's just it ranges from from oh my god, this is so terrible. Oh my god, this is misogynist. And oh my god, this is where did this scene come from?
It's like from another planet.
It is. Someone I can't remember who said it, but someone described this movie as if someone told Tommy Wiseau, an alien from outer space, what a movie is, and then he decided he was going to try and make one. And The Room is very much like that. It's so like this, weird, like no one would ever make this. No one would ever,
No one except Tommy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because I had to read the script. One of the first things we did in my feature film writing course was we had to read the script for The Room.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was kind of like a nice, like, I think my professor described it as
what not to do?
That, and also no one could ever do a script worse than this, because he thought this was the worst script he had ever read.
Mm-hmm.
No one could ever no matter what you write, it can never be as bad as this.
No, that's that's a perfect statement. How is Tommy's spelling? Were there misspellings? I've never read the script for The Room.
I never got past page 10.
Oh, geez.
I had to kind of make up. I had to write like a little paper, and it's fine to say this. It's okay. It's fine. My feature film writing class is almost over. It's fine. I just kind of read the first 10 pages, and a lot of people just couldn't make it the whole way through anyway.
Yeah.
So, as far as misspellings, there was not any misspellings of anything it was just a lot of grammatical and right. And Gene, you've written a script, right? I'm not sure if you have.
Yes.
Well, it's just a lot of like, a script, there's a certain structure to everything and certain like things that have to go, everything has to follow action, dialogue. The way he wrote dialogue, it looked the same as action. Like it really did. It read like action.
Tommy.
So it was so weird it was so confusing to decipher what was action and what was dialogue. So when people say it was unreadable, I can understand it. I can see where that was coming from.
Well, I mean, Tommy could read it, and maybe Greg. So.
Well, that's good that two people actually.
Yeah, all two people could read that script.
Oh boy. But so you've read the Disaster Artist's book.
Yes, it's a great book. I would recommend it for people to read. To listen to on an audiobook. I don't know who narrates it. I think there's a big name behind it.
I thought Greg. I thought he did the audiobook. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, he could be. I feel like he does, but. Yeah, just read it. Hopefully, before the movie. It's a really great read. It's like one of the funniest books I've read, as it details Tommy's just Tommy being Tommy, and his misadventures in movie making, and just every single weird situational comedy with poor Greg, because Greg goes through a lot.
Right. Greg did actually read the book.
He does? Okay.
Yeah, I just
okay. For some reason, I thought it was like Patton Oswalt or something, but my mistake.
It could be, but on Audible, it was read
great.
by Greg.
Okay.
But so since you've read the book, what was some of like how did the movie come about?
I want to say, so let's just preface this in, early 2000s. A young actor by the name of Greg Sestero is living with his parents. He's maybe, I want to say 18, 19, something like that. He's a young dude. And he starts modeling, and he likes that a bit. He goes off, makes money, but he wants to act. He wrote a letter to, I think it was like Steven Spielberg. Robert Zemeckis.
Okay.
And he wrote like this. He wrote like a script to Back to the Future 2 or something, or 3. He writes like a Back to the Future script, and Robert Zemeckis wrote back, or someone did. And they're like, "Oh, this is good." It's like, "But yeah, we can't use this." And it's like, "Keep trying," and then inspires Greg to want to act and direct movies. So that's how he gets it. And he starts taking classes at this acting class in San Francisco. They both live in the Bay Area, and he's taking classes. And there's this one student there. He looks, no one could guess his age. He's a very out there gentleman by the name of Tommy Wiseau. And he is very inspired by Tommy in the sense that Tommy is terrible, but he has no fear. He'll just act whatever's seen. He doesn't care the choices he makes. He's fearless in a way. So he starts hanging with Tommy, doing scenes, and just getting into the general weirdness of Tommy's life. And he begins to book more parts. Greg is in a scene of, I want to say Patch Adams. He's in the background of, Patch Adams and the funeral scene, and he's like, he's credited, or he credits himself as Jamie. That's what they gave him. He's not in the credits, and he is someone who dies, their boyfriend. And you see Greg for a second, so he starts getting parts, and Tommy, he discovers, tried to make an acting career maybe 10 years before he meets Greg, and he flies. So he lives in San Francisco, and he flies out to LA for lessons, like every so often. So like a day out of the week, he'll buy like a plane ticket just to go to a class. And that's Tommy in a nutshell. But he starts getting parts, and Tommy begins to get jealous, and he eventually decides to move down there with Greg. And Greg's doing moderately well. He's getting some roles. Like he gets an agent, so that's pretty good. And he's still working like a shitty job, but he has that, and he gets on some soap operas. And this causes kind of a rip with Tommy. Oh, he's in a movie called Retro Puppet Master, which is a cult film, and he's the lead, so he did somewhat well. So Tommy begins to get jealous, and he writes. He kind of retreats because Tommy is a good guy, and for shit, and he makes them so misogynist. It's just, he has a very bad view of women when he's writing them. But for the most part, he's a nice guy. But Tommy has like weird manic depressive streaks where he gets like kind of there's a line in the trailer where it puts it best, where someone's like, "I could see you as a villain," and he gets kind of like that sometimes, as the book details. But Tommy gets jealous, and he writes the script. He retreats, and he writes it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and he doesn't come out, or I don't know. I don't remember the details. But he goes into hibernation, writes a script, and tells it to Greg. It's like, "Greg, we have to do this." And he didn't want Greg in the film. Originally, they casted someone else. I'm kind of giving you the whole spiel.
That's fine. I'm listening.
Yeah, and he's struck by how similar Tommy is to the character of the film, and kind of like how, before this, they also see the talented Mr. Ripley, and Greg takes him to that because he sees how close Tommy is to that character. And instead of like noticing this, Tommy gets impressed by the film and becomes obsessed, and he wants to do his own Mr. Talent, the talented Mr. Ripley. And that's how the idea of the room started, from the talented Mr. Ripley, as well as Tommy's jealousy. Yes. And there's a character named Mark, because Tommy, the character of Mark, is named after Matt Damon, because Tommy thought Matt Damon's name was Mark Damon. So, yeah. And he has no knowledge of filmmaking. Not really. Tommy, Tommy's Tommy. Tommy has like this fortune somehow. No one really knows how he got it.
Yeah, a rumor is it was accumulated from his real estate dealings, and he sold jackets, like leather jackets. He also sells jeans. It's called Street Fashions. I don't think it's not there in San Francisco anymore. It used to be like a thing. He actually still uses that company, because I bought a DVD from Tommy and I used my debit card, and it emailed me a receipt and it says Street Fashions billed you. So he's still using that. But there are rumors that it's a front for the mob or something like that. I personally don't believe that, because I don't see Tommy being that much of a mastermind, in my own opinion. Hey, no one saw Walter White as a drug kingpin.
No, that's true. And Tommy is just well off for some reason. Let's just put it that. He finances this whole film because he wants to make a real Hollywood movie, and
a real Hollywood movie.
Mm-hmm. And he has Greg on as a producer, and the day before they hire all these actors and the lead, they decide Tommy really wants Greg to do it. He's always badgering Greg to do it, and Greg didn't want to do it because he didn't want to be in the movie. And Greg decides to do it because Tommy just gives him a large sum of money, which Greg doesn't. Greg never specifies how much, but it was a lot for a starving actor. And the day of, they replace that actor, and they keep filming, and then they finally tell the guy, like, yeah, we replaced you, so get off the set, and that sucks. And quick thing about The Room is they filmed with 2 cameras. They filmed on both digital and film because Tommy didn't know the difference. And, yeah.
To be fair, you can't tell the difference when you're watching the movie, or I can't.
There's some scenes you can tell, like there's some stuff that gives it away. Like if you pay like really close attention, there you could tell the digital from the film, just kind of based on just like the motion of the camera and just like the look, and it's like if you're like really specific.
Okay,
your watching experience, yeah.
Because when I watched the movie, maybe it's because, well, that's not true, because I even have seen an HD copy in front of theaters. It's the only time I can probably tell is probably during the green screen stuff. Maybe. Yeah, the green screen. Yeah, the green screen is one of the telling things. There's a few other stuff that's not coming to mind right now, but yeah, you don't want to do that. So it's just it just gets weirder and weirder as the production, and I think that's what the movie is going to cover, is that everything just got weirder and weirder as things went on, and
yes,
because Tommy is kind of, I don't want to say weird, I feel like that's too insulting.
There's no one else like Tommy on the face of this planet. We could say that. Yeah,
it's so odd because you just want to say, it's weird, but really it's just his own taste. He's his own artist. Yeah, it's Tommy's view of the world. He thinks everyone has sex with belly buttons. Mm-hmm. Apparently, how's your sex life? Yeah. Okay, let's get into the movie because this is one of the... Oh, I was going to say one more fact was... Okay.
they went through 3 DPs and like 3 crews. And the first DP was, I think he was like a big name. He was on some stuff, and he just left because he couldn't handle Tommy. The second DP, I forget, something happened. He left too. He just got tired of it. And the third DP was a crew member. He was like a grip or something, and he did a few stuff, and he's trying to get into, cinematography. And he's like, "Oh, I'll do this." And he was the last DP, so the look of the film is constantly changing. The way things are staged are just so bad. Like the scene with Chris R on the roof, and suddenly Lisa and her mom are there just out of nowhere. They show them when they suddenly got there. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, there was a few mainstays for the production. Obviously, Greg, Tommy, the actors, the script supervisor, who some say sort of directed the room in a way, which is Sandy. I'm trying to remember his last name. Sandy, who's played by Sandy. I can't pronounce it. Who's played by Seth Rogen in the film. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to. I can't see it anywhere.
Yeah.
Sandy
Claire.
Sandy
Claire.
Yeah.
So some say Sandy kind of directed the film, and he knew what Tommy wanted. Tommy would tell him because Tommy just wanted to act, and he would say, "You guys have to do this, this, and this." Tommy would block it out. And Sandy would just kind of be, I don't know. He was more like a second AD. I feel, my personal opinion. I'm sure he had some input, but yeah, he was one of the mainstays and a few other people. So it was a very troubled production, and Tommy wasted a crap ton of money. Instead of, so you know how you're supposed to rent so when you film, you have a limited amount of days, you want to get it done, in 3, say if you're a high-end production, 3 months, okay? One production, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks. So equipment you rent because there is a window of time that you're supposed to use this equipment supposed to make this movie. You're not going to be perpetually making this movie. Tommy decided to buy his equipment from Burns and Sawyer in Burbank, and that's the epitome of Tommy.
Yeah, because normal productions, even Star Wars, they rent their own equipment. They rent their own film cameras. They do buy their own stocks, but everything else, you rent. Everything from the tripod, the box, to the lenses, to the matte box. Everything you rent. Everything you rent from an Hollywood, or really in Atlanta, in-house camera shop. And that's how it's normally how you do it. You rent all of your equipment because
that's what a person with common sense would do. So,
but not John, but not Tommy, not
Tommy,
not Wiseau. Yeah. I guess in long run he never has to rent anything again.
Right. Well, I mean, and also the other thing, if you buy equipment, it's eventually going to become outdated. It's constantly changing, so you wouldn't want to buy it. But just one last thing on the production history. Tommy really loved the green screen because it's hard to describe what Tommy's feelings are about the green screen, but basically to try to decipher Tommy's logic is it's like a window to everything. Like there's so much stuff that's green screened. The roof of the place, which is the top of Burns and Sawyer, and Tommy's logic is you should use green screen because it opens up what they could do. I guess that's why he's so insistent on the green screen.
I'll hand Tommy this. It doesn't. Your green screen doesn't have seams, which cause problems when you're trying to composite stuff in and key stuff in. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's the best way I could describe it to you, why Tommy loves that green screen so much. And there were so many shots where they're like,
and
like, Tommy, you could just film on the roof. You could just film anywhere. And he's like, no, I want to build a set. Or it's like, why can't we film in the alley? It's like, no, this is a real movie. Let's make our own sets. And yeah, Tommy's not practical at all. So.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And normally when you do, I mean, it's always best to do logically. From the logical standpoint, you would love to do a lot of stuff indoors or on set because you can control it. But most of the time, it'll probably be cheaper and more practical if you just have lights and bounce boards and cover your whole area of your quarter, especially with what they were filming, because all the locations, like, they only film in this one apartment. Even for the psychologist scene, it's basically it's basically the set they were doing, all the living room stuff just redecorated. Like, that's literally, or that maybe that's how I saw it. But and then everything else was just like they did everything in LA like normally, like every exterior shot. So it's just odd, the decisions that were made that were not used practically, because you can cheat a lot, and get a still good look in the movie. You and I both have seen movies that have cost $6 million or less and have looked much better than this. I mean, this looked like a poorly made soap opera.
Yeah, it looks like a soap opera from the 80s.
If that.
Of that film. Yeah, it's being nice.
Yeah, so let's transition to the movie. So the movie is basically this repetitive structure of, and it gets worse. Like, I'll hand Wiseau this from a screenwriting perspective, and the stuff of good things I'll say about The Room is very limited and won't take long. But but the stuff I will say about Wiseau is, it is a repetitive structure, but it's getting worse. Like, everything is building to getting worse to the party.
Yeah, there's a rhythm of it,
which is the climax of everything, of every horrible thing that's happening. And
because of Lisa.
Because God forbid, Lisa, she has a normal relation. I mean, she's getting fucked in the belly button, and she finds it boring. Really, Lisa, what is exciting to you? I don't even think Christian Grey would excite you anymore. Oh my God. But yeah. That's really the only good thing I'll say about this movie, is that it builds to something. It's just what it's building to is lame and just as bad as everything else, badly acted as everything else in the movie. Because everything in this movie is just horribly acted. Tommy Wiseau has, not only did he make his life harder by not only did he make everything in his life harder by redubbing all of his dialogue, or not trying to learn any of his dialogue, so when he redubs the dialogue, it doesn't match with what he's saying. It becomes this issue of everyone else is acting normal, and everyone else is trying to read their lines as properly, but you just are constantly taken out every time Tommy Wiseau speaks. So and then there's no really good theme of the movie other than Tommy was I guess a decent person. We're only told that he's a decent person. We don't see him doing anything good.
Yeah.
Even when he's like having conversations with Denny, he's still, it's still like we're still being told of the good things that he's done for Denny. So
they never show it.
And this media, and one of the things that we forgot to mention is this was originally supposed to be a play as well.
Yes.
And it feels very play-like because and it also was meant to be a novel too. So it's like, so it's just like it was meant to be different things. So when the script finally, it's no shock that it was it feels like a play and also feels like a novel at the same time. So It's been like 2 or 3 different things before. So
yeah.
And that's really the issue with The Room, is that it just A, doesn't feel like a movie, and B, it just doesn't feel like you just don't feel for anything, because A, the acting is terrible, and what the characters are doing are so wrong-headed and so dumb, wrong-headed, sociopathic, that you just don't care about anything. But despite everything, you can have a blast watching it, because you can watch aliens trying to be human.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
If it actually, after the fact, after all the aliens adopted to human life. Oh, that would explain why she finds it so boring. Why Lisa finds everything so boring. She's like, yeah, I did this whole human thing, and I'm like, all I want to do is just, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
So, Gene, what is your take on the movie?
Just the movie as an experience itself.
Sure.
It, in a way, it's what not to do in a film. Every single decision in that movie is just wrong. It's the opposite of what they should be doing. It makes no sense at all. There are characters that disappear, and people take their place, like the couple at the end that are telling Lisa, giving her crap, are supposed to be like Peter and another character, and they decided to replace them, but have them be the same people, more or less. And nothing about it makes sense, but I love it so much because it's a movie unlike anything else in existence. It's the Citizen Kane to bad movies. It makes me laugh. It gives me a pleasure in watching it. It's hilarious. Just everything about all the lines. It's like his whole, the way Tommy's delivery is. It goes from like serious to casual. Oh, hi, Mark. Just great.
To screaming to mellow.
To mellow. Tommy has just the worst reaction to everything. Like Greg's story about this chick being beat up in Guerrero in this hospital, or she went to a hospital in Guerrero Street, and Tommy just laughs.
Or when Denny tells him that he's in love with her, he's almost aroused.
Yeah, Tommy. Yeah, he doesn't care. Like he's just like, oh, that's okay. Like for someone that's sort of like aggressive and like gets set off in that movie, that doesn't faze him for some reason. But
when it's finally like in front of his face that his wife or future wife is cheating on him. Yes, they said future wife multiple times.
Yeah, they don't want you to forget that.
Yeah, well, they have to. They have to pad out this runtime. When Lisa's cheating on him and it's right and blunt, it's like, yeah, he loses it and even he loses it in the most casual way imaginable. He's like, I'm done. Fuck all of you. Fuck. I
hate this world, yeah. All of Tommy's reactions are just so funny. Like, all the scenes that are dubbed, it's so obviously dubbed. And I get a good feeling from watching it, It's, it's, in a way, it's a feel-good movie, and I am just so appreciative of the Room and, like, the feelings it brings and seeing it with large groups of people. So that's the best way to see it. And it improves my hand-eye coordination, throwing spoons. So it's it's a guilty pleasure, let's put it that way.
It's a feel-good movie about someone shooting themselves at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
By the way, that scene is so, like, when he tears the room apart, like, I mentioned when
Citizen Kane.
It is.
Yeah.
It makes
that's a Tommy homage.
It is, and even when that scene. Look, I love Citizen Kane a lot, but that scene did not. I don't think aged very well.
No. Yeah.
But but I will say, Tommy has he has nothing on Orson Welles compared to that scene. Because when he's just knocking stuff down, like, it's a good thing someone made the decision of just having inserts of his hands knocking stuff over. Because when you just cut him, it's just like, wah, wah, wah. It's still like everyone is on like a Xanax cocktail.
Yeah.
and that's it's so weird. Like, it's all like the only scene that feels like everyone like woke up and was like, okay, we got to move on. We got to, actually act normal is the whole like floral scene.
The floral scene?
Yeah, where he's like, where he goes and touches the doggy and and she's like, you're my favorite customer. And it's like, here you go. Here's the change. Bye.
Yeah, but even that is like, it's like so like sped up. Like the pacing of that scene is like so weird. It's like, oh, here, I want these flowers. Like, okay, money.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is sped up, but but it's the only time like the mood, like anything becomes slightly normal.
That's a sad part.
Yeah, because Lisa acts like a total sociopath.
Right.
Because
Lisa is. Yeah.
Let's talk about Lisa.
Yeah.
What are her goals?
Lisa clearly wants Mark. I could definitely say that.
Okay. All right. So she wants Mark, and why in this relationship? Okay, so we're told that they've been together.
If you Google Lisa the Room, the first like wiki page, she gets like the first hit is on Villains Wiki, so it says a lot about Lisa. It's on Villains Wiki.
Oh boy. But yeah, Lisa, her goal is she wants to be with Mark. Why didn't she realize in this 5-year relationship, in this 5-year engagement, we'll just say the 5-year engagement, because why not? She was like, yeah, I just don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just boring. I don't.
Okay, so someone had put this best, probably on her Villains Wiki page, is Lisa's motivations are best understood if you assume she has multiple mental illnesses. So, like, she's a sociopath. She has multiple personalities. Schizophrenic.
She's a bitch to her mother because
she has cancer too.
Yeah, I mean, your mom has cancer.
It's definitely breast cancer. Definitely.
And your only response is, "It's gonna be fine." First of all, my grandfather does have I'll get a little personal. My grandfather does have cancer. I won't specify which one it is, but when we were told it was cancer, it was shocking. It was horrifying. It was, all these emotions, and it's been emotional roller coaster for everyone in my family, everyone close to my grandfather. Lisa treats cancer like crap. She treats it like her mom just missed a payment on her house, on her mortgage.
Yeah, on her house, or something even less trivial than that, or more trivial than that.
I'm like,
like her order of like some Amazon delivery came in late or not showing up.
Yeah, it's like her. It's like someone. It's like your test scores for the SAT came back, and and they were like subpar. And I'm like, yeah, that's that's something you want to tell someone. Yeah, it's gonna be okay. You might not get into Harvard, but you can still take the test multiple times. It's just all these things are just totally weird. Like every reaction to everything.
Yeah, like
and we're told multiple times about her relationship.
Yeah.
By the way, this movie does pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah, I guess it does. I mean, I don't really I don't really care for the Bechdel test too much, me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a guideline for.
Yeah, it's like and that's I think the strength of a female character shouldn't be check marks, but that's me going off on the tangent, but yeah, it passes that test, the Bechdel test. So.
Oh yeah, and I agree. Like I always like to make that statement every time I see a movie that's still sexist, but still meets the qualifications of the Bechdel test, because it just kind of, while I'll admit it's a good guideline to writing a movie with female characters, or trying to have women do something other than nothing or talking about men. And the movie does feature a lot of scenes of Lisa and her mother, or Lisa and Michelle, just talking about Johnny. But the film's ultimate, but the film does like have conversations beforehand, and this is how repetitive the movie gets. It does have conversations beforehand with each character, with Lisa and whatnot, about something that doesn't relate to the relationship. So it does
it's almost like very repetitive. It's almost like
yeah.
But sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, that's what I mean, it is repetitive, and it just goes on like that. So it just to go to my point, the Bechdel test, it should be just more of a guideline, not held to such a high regard.
Yes, it's like a general sense of just maybe just a light guideline.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way if you're a starting screenwriting person and you want to have female characters. Like, it's a good way to, like, it's a very obvious, very basic way, but still.
Yeah.
It can be used in movies just as misogynistic as this movie, because the only...
I mean, it's super misogynist, this film. The Room, it's, I mean, if you, just Lisa and, just the way she's portrayed. Just if this movie could pass, it doesn't give it a lot of clout.
I mean, even when Johnny dies in this movie, she has tries to rebound to Mark, and just to prove even more that she's just a soulless character who is in need of a man constantly.
Yeah.
So it's unforgiving. And then, of course, I mean, there's all sorts of other things like Denny. Is it Denny or Danny? Because
it's Denny.
Okay.
Denny.
He must have ate at Denny's a lot.
Yeah.
Because but Denny is just a weird character, because he obviously is very attracted. He obviously wants to have a three-way with Johnny and Lisa, even though he already has a girlfriend, or sort of has a girlfriend.
I'm shrugging on camera.
Like it's just like he's kind of does, maybe don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Movie never specifies.
There's a lot of stuff it doesn't specify. Like Mark's job is never explained. Greg had his own backstory where Mark was like a narc. He was like an undercover cop, so that why he's in the camera. And actually, the Room video game, which someone made, it's like a code. It's like like a point and click game on a computer. It's like a
PC-ROM.
Yeah, CD-ROM game. And they gave the backstory for Mark being like an undercover cop. And there's a lot of stuff that's unexplained in the Room.
Yeah. And well, I mean, we don't even see what Lisa does. We get one line about her in the computer industry. Like, she, is a computer salesman, I think, or a computer technician. I think it's mentioned more in the screenplay, because someone did bring it up that, that Lisa, someone did bring it up in our class that Lisa does have a job, and we kind of hear more about it, and we see her actually meeting with a client or something. I think that was in the script. It just either didn't get filmed or it got put on the cutting room floor.
Right.
But yeah. And and really, I mean, my thoughts on The Room are specifically, it's, it's bad, but it's an interesting failure because it should be shown. I really do think this should be shown in film schools. I really do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, like, there's so many bad student films that are just kind of reminiscent of The Room. I've seen a few.
Mm-hmm. And also it proves, and I think I Am That Robbie from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a really good point about The Room, which was it shows the courage, like the whole idea of Tommy Wiseau and about the disaster artist. This movie is about someone had the fierce courage to go out there and put their art out there and have it criticized by everyone and have it, out there. And someone wanted to make something, and for better or worse, Tommy Wiseau has done something that a lot of inspired or a lot of up and coming filmmakers dream of doing. A lot of stuff that we dream of doing. So he's accomplished. It's done in the worst way, but
yeah, Tommy is weirdly inspirational in a way.
Mm-hmm. So
that's what I will say about Tommy.
So yeah, I would show this oddly in front of film schools. Maybe even throw in some Ed Wood stuff in there.
Yeah, maybe. Like Plan 9 from Outer Space. So.
Yeah, I mean, I find Plan 9 a boring film, but that's just me.
Okay.
But yeah. So
bad movies have their merits, I mean, besides just laughing, that's what not to do.
I mean, for me, the worst kind of movie is either a boring movie or something that just has no flavor or has no vision or flavor to it. Those are really kind of the worst kinds, because you're just sitting there waiting for something interesting to happen, regardless if it's good or bad.
Yeah, just don't say Justice League as an example.
I was trying to avoid it.
No, okay.
I was trying to dance around it, but
I don't think it's that bland.
But I'm just saying, like, bad movies do, like The Room, as long as they, are, even it's an interesting failure, interesting and not boring. Because for me, a boring movie is, when I have to sit there and think of other things to do, like when I'm sitting there thinking, how am I going to pay my college tuition, or how am I going to or how am I going, or I gotta get home and feed the cat, or when I'm thinking of those things, I think you're failing.
Yeah,
and The Room. All I can think about is how are they having sex on the stairway,
the belly, or in their belly button.
Yeah, like how is Lisa bored by all this sex? Like, how can anyone be bored? But yeah, so to kind of what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of split this off in the end. We're gonna have another group of people talk, because I kind of wanted to have I wanted to kind of hit every group of people.
Sure.
I wanted to hit multiple groups of people in there, talk about The Room, kind of doing like a interview about what they think about The Room. But anyway, Gene, what are your expectations on The Disaster Artist? It's coming out nationwide this Friday. It's already open in New York and LA, but what are your expectations?
I expect it it's
I should probably say hopes and expectations.
Hopes and dreams. I want it to be just this weird kind of. Have you ever seen the movie like Bowfinger? It's with Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin. Frank Oz directed.
Our friend Patrick Campbell is going to kill me, but no.
Oh, it's a great film. I really want it to be like Bowfinger, in the sense that it's this weird like encapsulation of like low level filmmaking, and how it's terrible and nothing goes right, and like it could place the madness. And I kind of want it to be like that, where it's just this in a weird way, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. I want it to just be this like weird, strange love letter to like low level filmmaking, and have some laughs along the way.
Yeah, I just hope for a really good comedy, because we've had some good comedies like The Big Sick and Girls Trip, but I really hope for a good comedy, a really compelling story. A lot of people are comparing this to Ed Wood, Tim Burton's masterpiece, and
I could totally see it being that. I could see it. I hopefully feel like it could be nominated. We don't know.
Yeah, as of this recording, it won James Franco won, I think, the runner-up for Best Actor from
did he?
Los Angeles Film Critics Association.
Okay.
Or what I call LAFCA. Okay,
so there's a very good chance it can be.
So yeah, he could be Oscar nominated. I hope. I hope it's a really good movie. I hope it's something like Ed Wood, but also in the vein of like from the, I know it's directed by James Franco, but I hope it's a Rogen Goldberg kind of joint in the gaze of a Ed Wood kind of way, because I love the combination of those two together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful for this movie. I'm seeing it Thursday night. And for us, we'll have more on that movie early next week. So
you have to check it out.
All right, Gene. So do we have any more thoughts on The Room or Disaster Artist or Tommy Wiseau?
Don't see Tommy's other productions. I haven't seen Best Friends yet, so don't see like Neighbors, because Neighbors is terrible. Like, he did a web series called Neighbors. Don't watch that.
We're talking about Tommy Wiseau's Neighbors, not Seth Rogen and Goldberg's Neighbors.
No.
Nicholas Stoller's Neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't see that at all, because there was a theater I saw it, and saw The Room ad, and they were playing that before, and it was just bad. It's unwatchable.
Did you see the documentary he did?
Room Full of Spoons?
No, The Homeless.
Oh, no, I have not, actually.
Okay.
Is that good?
I have not seen it, but I know that's like one of his only other credits is that he did a documentary short, Homeless in America.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have not seen it. I was just wondering if you had, because I know you're a Wiseau aficionado.
Oh, yeah. I haven't. It's, I don't know. I've never come across a really good link. I'd have to probably dig harder in the interwebs. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next group.
Cool.
Gene, thank you so much. Where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Gene9892. And if you like listening to other podcasts, Waffle Press movie podcasts, look for that as well.
I definitely recommend the Waffle Press podcast.
Oh, you were just on.
I know, but you guys have also really good content that
thank you.
Include me in person. So
yeah.
So yeah, Gene, thank you for coming on, and
thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon.
You're listening to Just Mess with
Hey, don't mess with them. Don't mess with my audience.
Don't tell us what to
The
do,
Youth Critic
Kaul.
Podcast at the University of North Georgia. Starring Kaul.
So anyway, as you can tell, we have Jordan Suggs, the creator.
Jordan Hood.
Oh, Jordan Hood.
The announcer guy.
And the creator of KHZ Network and Productions, on for the first time as a guest host on the show.
Yep. Well, I think I've been on it way, way back, but it's been a while.
It's been a long, long time.
It's been at least 2 years.
Yeah.
But maybe. And also joining us is Kate.
Hello.
And then Jared.
It's the Jared the Cool, the Mr. Cool.
And we're continuing the discussion on The Room. So, starting with you, Kate, since you're the girl. Ladies first.
Because a woman changes her mind so often.
Oh, fuck off.
What are your thoughts? And you might want to do it before you change your mind.
Oh, fuck off, too.
I don't.
You shut up.
That's a quote from the movie, though, because in the movie she goes, "Women have the ability to change their mind, Mark."
Whenever they want to.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Johnny, sorry. Change your mind, Johnny.
No. I don't remember that part. I was very tired when I watched it last night. It's the worst, best movie ever created.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm pretty salty.
I give it a solid -12 out of 7 because I still enjoyed it.
It's so bad.
It's good.
It's great. It's an A+.
It's people go and dress up as Johnny and Mark and all of them and go to the theaters like they do for Rocky Horror, because it sucks, but it's beloved.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah, it's odd. This is a film that basically just... It's so bad, but it's still, like, it accumulate.
It tingles your belly button.
Yeah. It amassed a cult audience in a weird way, because it is a film that, as Gene and I were talking about, it was only released in L.A. Like, it was only released in, like, 2 or 3 theaters in L.A., and then it just stayed in long enough to get an Oscar qualifying run. Yeah, that's how much money went into this. They rented theaters out just so it can have an Oscar qualifying run in 2003. But Jordan, what do you think of The Room?
I think it is the spawn point for a lot of memes. I also think that this film, it reminds me a lot of films that come out of college, mostly because it stars, written by, directed by, cinematography. It's one of those where, like, this guy had a passion. I give him this. It is one of the shittiest films out there. But he made a film. And as a producer, that is the one thing you have to do is make a film. So I give him props. He made a film. However shitty it is, he did something not a lot of people do, and that's make a film.
Yeah, that's the thing about Tommy Wiseau, and I think people don't understand, is that he made a movie. He did the thing that every one of us wants to do. That everyone, because we're all college students, you're a PR major. But you still make movies with us.
Nerd.
I'm kind of forced to because I'm dating a film producer, so
Nerd.
We acknowledge your sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
That was terrible, but yeah, it's one of the.
It actually is sometimes.
Yeah, come on, it's not that bad.
I usually, because normally when I go on a film set, I'm usually the producer's assistant, so I just sit there and look pretty.
The PA?
Yeah.
Producer's assistant. It's
not
different.
production assistant.
Production
I know,
assistant and then producer's assistant.
I know, but I was making that.
Yeah. But, like, I just sit there and look pretty, and then if he tells me to do something, I go do it. That's the only time he really commands me to do something.
Ever.
So,
this movie is so weird and so weirdly sexist. Anyway, I'm trying to think, because there's just so much to process with this movie. And
you guys know that's Tommy Wiseau. Is it Wiseau or Wiseau?
Wiseau.
That's not his actual name.
No.
Yeah,
Nobody knows his actual name.
Oh, no?
Good man.
They talk about this in the film, actually, that we're going to watch.
What's your name? Oh, it's Tommy.
Yeah, nobody really knows what his actual name is. That's like, I was watching Watch Mojo, not sponsored. And
Okay.
it's like top 10 facts or 5 facts that you need to know about the disaster artist / The Room. And that was one of the main things that they said, like, nobody knows who his real fucking name is.
Well, that was
Apparently
really
he was born
smart.
in America.
Huh?
Someone told me he was born in America, actually.
Really?
With that accent?
I think so. Well, to be fair, I have a weird accent, too.
Everybody has a weird accent.
I could still tell that you're American.
Americana.
Okay. Fair, but still, it's an Yeah, it's not. It's an accent that's kind of weird because it's like I can't even tell you where it could be from.
North Carolina.
Nah, no
Were
way.
you? Or
for him. Or for was
for Tommy Wiseau. I thought we were talking about you.
yeah, I did too. I was like, wait a minute.
I'm like, hold up. What's that?
Oh, I have no idea where I got this
from.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. It sounds very
it's almost,
Italian.
It's like a mixture between Italian and French.
Yeah.
So he's Canadian. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You tear me apart, eh?
Tear me apart, buddy.
That's good.
It's good. This movie, it made me so mad.
It made me so happy.
Well, why did it make you mad? Let's get into that. Come on.
Why are you so mad?
I have no words.
The world would be a better place if we all loved each other and opened up.
Why are you so angry?
I just had to answer that question earlier. No thanks. Anyways, this movie made me really mad. It's just like, he's an asshole.
Good.
And like
he did his character at least.
Like film wise,
I don't think he's an asshole.
The character in the movie was, yes.
I don't know.
I thought he was.
I thought everyone around him was an asshole.
When you nonchalantly push Lisa down, you just He's not like even push. He's just like
Like character wise, and then when you're looking at production wise, everything was horribly wrong. So I showed the trailer to my coworkers, and they thought, "Is this a porno?"
It kind of is. I mean,
it will tingle your belly button.
There is 2 sex scenes in it that
you've already made that joke once, Jared. Go, sorry, Jordan.
There's 2 sex scenes in it, and they're replaced. Like one's the exact same as the other one.
She didn't want to do it again, so they just replayed the same thing from a slightly different
blame
angle.
her though?
No.
Well, in reality, her actual boyfriend was Greg Sestero, I think, the actress. So it was a lot easier for her to do sex scenes with him, I think. I'm just going off of what I know, like of what I Wikipedia'd. I haven't read the
source.
book.
Write your papers, kids.
Yes, research your papers. Use valuable sources.
Like the resources link on Wikipedia.
Yep.
Okay, teachers say you can't use Wikipedia for your information, but the textbooks we're given are super out of date, so screw them.
You right.
Yep, I am right.
You're damn right.
And they were written by really crazy people.
Yeah, they were.
And that's why you're my favorite customer.
Oh no, the dog. Hey, doggy.
That was wonderful editing right there.
It really was.
It didn't feel like it was jump cutting, but it obviously was. Like, if that makes sense. Like, we had this humongous rapid succession of dialogue and like, oh hi doggy, and then he's just out. He's in. Who is that? Oh, it's my favorite customer. You mean you didn't recognize me?
And it's definitely dubbed. Like you just.
Oh my god!
It has to be dubbed.
There's
no way it actually flows like that.
We just watched the highlights before we just got in here just to refresh ourselves, and I completely forgot how bad audio synced this movie was.
What the story, Mock?
It's everywhere. Everybody talks about the visuals and the editing and the dialogue. I'm like, well,
you mean everything?
Everything except for the sound syncage. Oh my god.
So, let me ask you guys this. Why is this movie so popular?
Because it's the best movie in the entire fucking world.
Well, the thing is that everybody wants something to laugh at, and this movie takes campiness to a T, even though it was completely serious in its production.
So is it that we love to see... We appreciate failure?
We love it. Well, here's the thing.
Or is it that we love to see people fail?
In order for good comedy to happen, there has to be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie in its entire self is the victim. The audience is a victim. And that's why it's so funny.
I don't think it's the audience as much as it's...
Because people paid to watch this.
True, but in the grand scheme of things, also, I would think the director would be the victim because everything just went so horribly wrong.
I mean, look at all his other movies.
None.
Yeah.
Well, he did do a documentary called Homeless in America.
Wait, he did that one?
Well, there's a couple of homeless documentaries, so I might be you might. It's easy to get confused, but there's one in 2004.
We're gonna go see this guy, all right? He lives under the bridge.
Yeah,
I've seen like 3 or 4 homeless documentaries in my social work class, so I may have watched it.
Did one of them come out like in the mid 2000s?
I think so.
Yeah, he did. He probably did it.
I'll have to go back and watch them again. I really don't want to, but I will.
So, What
can we talk about this film?
What can't we talk about this
Jordan,
film?
you haven't said anything.
I will pull up some production facts about this thing because
we already did that though on the other one.
Get good, babe.
Look.
Don't look.
This is a week before finals. My brain has been racked. I just want to see something that's terrible and funny. I have to say about this film though, there's some great one-liners out of it, and I believe what Vine said is one of the best things about it is, no matter what, he did not make the worst film ever. So
what's the worst film ever?
The film that Vine's made?
Ever.
Huh?
What is the worst film ever?
Probably Birdemic, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's probably Fantastic Four.
Hey, at least they had a production value. Birdemic doesn't. They copy and pasted birds because they couldn't afford to put more than one.
Oh, that's fair. Although, it could be Batman and Robin. Oh wait, no, that actually had a pretty decent budget.
It had a
George
plot
Clooney?
line.
Uh-huh.
It had a plot
I
line.
love that one.
Bat card.
What?
Yeah, that was my very first Batman film ever.
That's the one where Robin
it's campy,
because
but it is
edgy.
kind of good.
That's the one where Robin gets like all edgy and whatnot.
Isn't that the one with
No, that's the one where
Poison
Batgirl
Ivy?
gets all edgy and whatnot.
Oh, that one.
Because that's you got Clueless in there. You got, Lacey Silverstone.
Yeah.
You got her in there. You got Uma Thurman just like sexing everything up with her plants.
Oh yeah. Wait, that was Uma Thurman?
That was Uma Thurman, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You got Arnold Schwarzenegger totally going to a Blue Man audition. It's a fucking weirdo movie.
I love that movie. Wasn't it by Tim Burton?
No.
No, it wasn't.
Joe
him.
Schumacher.
Joe Schumacher.
Well, which one was the one with Tim Burton?
The Michael Keaton movies.
That's my homeboy.
Those are some good movies. They're a lot better than The Room, obviously. So
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, racking my head a little bit here. How does one movie go from? Because this movie goes from different kinds of bad. It goes from you can't believe you're watching it bad.
It goes from production bad to writing bad to acting bad.
To acting bad, and then it just goes to holy shit, this is amazing bad, to back to holy shit, this production is bad, and going through that cycle again.
Here's the thing. I think one of the main appeals about it is that they didn't try and make a campy movie. So they
tried to make a drama.
All of the acting, all the words, all the bad stunts that they do, like putting the guy over the
ledge.
building,
Yeah, the psychiatrist.
All of that was with the intent of it being good.
Yeah, that's true.
It was all with the intent of being authentic. To
Even-
quote the disaster movie trailer, but it's Hollywood.
Even the climax was meant to be, it's meant to be this huge reveal and huge thing that, devastated this Johnny character and led to his demise.
And he shoots himself and then moves around a little bit. And continues moving around a little bit.
It's his reflexes. You have those. It's probably his bowels emptying out.
Oh.
Because of all of the bullshit he breathed.
Yeah, the bullshit. It's his bowels
The Room
emptying.
is actually playing at the Plaza Theater in Atlanta at 9:30 p.m. tonight.
Of this
don't doubt it.
podcast.
I do not doubt that at all.
And it's the 12th anniversary.
It's playing in Athens this weekend too. So, and at the Athens Cine.
He's made so much money off of it being terrible.
Oh God, yeah.
The budget was $6 million.
$6 million, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the box office, it made $1,900.
Oh, it's made more
It's
now.
made more than that now.
Yeah, now.
That's the theatrical
but
run.
this was back in 2003.
So in 2003 dollars, he probably made what, 10 grand? No, that's too high. like $5,000 probably. Anyway, what were you saying, Jared?
I kind of made my point.
All right.
I mean, it has a 9%
Another cool thing about it is that for our film production, we had to read the script, and we had to write a review on it. And
how far did you get into your script?
Yes.
I mean, how far did you get into, like, the script itself?
Yes. I read the whole thing.
Oh, fuck.
Why?
Why?
Why did you do that to yourself?
I had enough material after page 10.
Because it was hilarious. And for all of you people
I was embarrassed.
For all you people out there who know how to write a script, or those who strive to write a script, tone it down on the ellipses. An ellipses is 3 dots, not as counted 26 dots in a row.
Oh, God. Why so? Have you not read a screenwriting book ever? Oh, that's probably what happened. He read that stupid Edward, fire the cat, whatnot.
Ooh, shots fired.
He probably read that book and was like, fuck yeah, I can do this. And that's what we got.
See, like,
fuck you, guy who wrote.
In a film student's point of view, I'm looking at it as an entertainment point of view. It was just horrible.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all shot like a soap opera.
Yeah, just leave it to the novellas and the primetime TV.
I mean, I was expecting,
But it was so funny.
I mean, I was expecting Fabio to come in and start fucking
everyone. That would
everyone.
have made it 10 times better with Fabio. Just like sweating
You've
out
heard
of
the
nowhere.
love triangle. Now get ready for it to get squared.
Hair flown and chest pumped out. That would have made the film 10 times better than it actually.
Oh God, that would have been so much better if like the movie just now became about Fabio and Lisa, and Tommy just went off on his own, just fucked off.
Just fucked off.
What else is new? He obviously doesn't know how to fucking general. It's the belly button.
Yeah, what is up with that? Did no one say on set, "Hey, dude, you go low"? No, man, I want to be right here. I don't want to. I don't want to go low.
I did not fuck her there. I did not.
That's funny.
I'm curious. Like I'm so interested in seeing the movie now because I've seen the movie once at a Riff Track showing, or I saw The Room at a Riff Track showing, and then I saw it again a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just so interested on how this failed because, I mean, you can clearly see what went wrong. But this is like an Ed Wood situation where it's just the film where the story behind it was much more interesting than the actual movie. If you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the story is not complicated.
No, you can describe it in a paragraph.
It's the acting.
They had everything that they needed. They had the build-up, they had the friendship shown, they had the relationship between Johnny and Lisa, and then Lisa and Mark.
And then Johnny and Mark.
And you had everything developed, but the format that it was developed is where we find our humor.
It's the execution, because there was intent, it was the execution that didn't work.
Well, to sum up the story, it'd be, okay, Johnny and Lisa are having a relationship. I did not hit her. And that whole bout there, where she's telling lies, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
While she is also fucking Mark, who she actually has feelings for, and not Johnny.
And her excuse is such a holy shit moment. It's like, she's just bored. How the fuck is being fucked in the belly button boring? Sorry.
Well,
it's tantalizing.
What are you looking at me for?
I'm just messing around.
Oh God! What the fuck?
No.
Do we need to leave the
That's a different movie.
Do we have to leave the podcast for 5 minutes?
Oh God, please. No, we will not become one of those sexy porn podcasts.
Those exist.
Yes.
Kaul, have you been doing research that you haven't told me about?
Hi guys, welcome to Youth Critic, the ASMR.
Oh no. Well, much worse has been said here by other co-hosts. So
That's
continue.
True. Although the Youth Critic as an ASMR for what he said would be probably illegal in the United States. So
Hey, everybody.
God. God damn it.
We're here to talk about
that's what I'm here for.
What is it, Jared?
So,
What?
So, the whole plot of the story is... I'm just gonna stop with the ASMR thing.
Anyway.
I think you can make a lot of money on
Also,
doing
the spoiler ending, if you haven't seen or
Oh
know
God,
anything
let's
about
talk about it. He tears the room apart.
He tears the room apart.
He's tearing the room apart.
Oh my God, that meme will live forever.
I'm gonna laugh when we go see Disaster Artist tonight, and it's 30 minutes of like them actually making the film, and then like the actual ending, like the rest of the film, like the next like hour and a half, is the actual room movie, just with Dave Franco and James Franco just switched.
All of the original actors are there, just those two switch.
Yes.
But spoiler warning for the ending of The Room. He shoots himself.
Yeah, he does.
But
In the foot?
No.
In the dick?
No. Here's the comment on that.
God, where do you think a dick is?
Here's the second part of this. They're made enough money off of selling the rights to the movie and everything like that to make The Room 2.
When is this supposed to happen?
That was a terrible joke.
Also, Kate, your microphone's about to fall apart.
I know. I gave her
Very
the
professional,
crap.
Kate.
It was supposed to be my mic, but
Oh, it's missing screws. That one needs to be destroyed. That one's broken.
Anyway.
Either way, there's
just hold it still.
Just let it hang. It's probably better, actually.
Damn it, Jordan. No. Just let it be. Just let it be. Don't touch it.
Let it be. Let her be. Let her be.
Good God, our audience is going to be like, what's that beeping?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just keep
Not
going.
all of us are on podcasts usually.
We have to keep going.
For my lack of absence, the reason I have been on a lot of podcasts and or doing my own podcasts, I've been on a lot of productions lately, which I'm currently doing a lookbook for one.
Well, you're doing the production side of KHZ Network.
Yeah, I do the... speaking of that, do you want to announce what we're going to be doing later as a Atrum?
Let's finish this, and then we'll do it at the end of the show.
Sounds good.
So, the death scene where he kills himself.
And then continues to move and move and move.
Well, it's a corpse. It's got to breathe.
Kaul, as an
breaks my
microbiology
heart.
major and somebody with common sense, what the fuck, Kaul?
We had a corpse in our last movie open its eye and look at somebody to make sure that they were coming in the room. We had to go back and Photoshop that out.
Wait.
Really?
For what?
For the ripples.
Oh, really?
And one of the takes that we actually used in the film, we had to go back through and use After Effects to fix the eye because she opens it up to see if someone's actually leaning down to get near her.
Oh my gosh, no.
God damn it.
She just left it in, it's just like...
She came
X-Files.
back, or that person came back just to make sure that people were in the room. Anyway, but to make it worse, Lisa, the bitch that she is, it's like she's trying to rebound with Mark and be like, yeah, we're gonna fuck on this corpse. Or wait, did I read that wrong?
Wait. Who killed who?
What?
No, Johnny killed himself.
Okay. I forgot.
Lisa being the bitch that she is, because I don't want to say the C word on here.
Cunt.
Fuck all of you.
We say every other word.
There's a couple that I have, like, we will not touch.
Okay.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare, Jordan. You're going to ruin us.
Is that considered necrophilia?
What?
Having sex on top of a corpse?
No, absolutely not.
No.
But it is quite
you
fucking
have to have
weird.
sex with the corpse in order for it to be like that.
Hey, if a hand gets misplaced, a hand gets misplaced.
Rigor mortis, you know.
Jesus. We're supposed to
Hey,
eat.
you invited us on here.
No, I love it. Anyway, I don't know about my listeners, but I love it. But anyway,
They're like, wow, this is as entertaining as The Room.
but
Unfinished thoughts and memes.
but
My memoir.
but,
My memoir.
but Mark finally realizes that Lisa is a bitch and he should just leave her.
It took
But
him
they have
that
sex on
long.
the corpse, don't they?
Oh no, they don't. He
Oh.
pushes the sex away. He denies her sex.
Well, let's put it
Oh
this
my
way.
gosh,
He
a man
finally
denying
saw some
sex. That's a
personality in her.
miracle.
Oh, wait, no, he didn't.
What were you saying, Jared? I'm sorry.
I said, well, I guess Mark finally found some personality in her. Oh, wait a second. No, he didn't.
At no point did he find personality. Her personality is literally... in the script, it says I need to be bitchy. What else do I need to do for acting? I don't know. Just do
be
that.
Just be a giant bitch.
The entire time.
That's your character. It's a complex character. You're just gonna be a bitch the whole time.
But you're saying it does pass the
The Bechdel test.
Bechdel test. Talk about that, because Kate's going to like this part.
What?
Oh, do you know what the... Kate, do you remember what the Bechdel test is?
No.
There's 3 rules to the Bechdel test. There has to be 2 female characters in the movie. They have to talk to each other, and they have to talk to each other about something that has nothing to do
With a male
with
character.
with them being with a man. It passes. The Room mysteriously passed the Bechdel test.
Movies like
Proving-
The Avengers do not pass the Bechdel test. A lot of other big famous films do not pass the Bechdel test.
What's the point of the Bechdel test?
It's to kind of be a
show that-
guideline.
yeah.
It's a guideline to for movies to,
Not be sexist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
Well, to be less misogynist, because even this year
We
I saw
live in a misogynist world, Kaul.
I know. We're getting better, though.
No, we're not.
We're getting better.
No, we're not. No way in fucking hell are we getting better. Ever. Until the man actually decides to not be a sexist perv and actually get their shit together. And that's because... I'm going to stop.
No, keep going. This is fascinating.
The listener's like, oh my god.
They
Well,
were...
Kaul,
Until we actually
here's
get
the
our
thing.
shit together and clean out everything, like major corporations, Congress, and everything. Did you hear about the Oklahoma senator that was sex trafficking a 17-year-old boy?
I'm guessing we're about to.
Fucking A.
Yeah, that was all last week. We live in a world
Oh.
where nobody gives a shit about each other unless it's about sex, drugs, or Donald
videotape.
Trump.
Or rock and roll.
Rant over.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, and even Al Franken, as of this podcast recording, resigned.
Oh yeah, the senator.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God. So done with this bullshit.
Don't
This
mind me.
dirty
I'm
laundry
just
is
rolling
coming
around.
up now, and you're
Was
trying
it
to hide
Matt
it.
Lauer?
That doesn't mean you have to pay people to do it.
Yeah. Careful, Jordan, where you're with your. Anyway. Yeah, it's due time.
What's this?
It's due time. That's why I keep saying.
Too late for that.
That's why I hope it keeps getting better, because I hope it gets better because of all these allegations, and we're cleaning the swamp. The swamp is being drained.
We're cleaning this. We're cleaning my swamp.
It wasn't the swamp that everyone intended to be drained, but it's a swamp that's being drained.
You mean the belly button?
No.
Oi.
You don't drain a belly button.
Nothing will be
That's
drained
gonna be
unless
sticky.
it's like in the next 10 years and women just take over everything.
Nice.
So, if the queen decides before she dies to take over America again.
I will be totally supportive of that.
Speaking
But
of which,
she might
more,
die.
more royal babies. So many royal babies.
They're not pregnant, though.
Yes, they are.
Oh, wait, someone is pregnant?
The British family tree, the monarchy, went from being, we have a few alive, to, oh my gosh, the grandkids. And I'm
Yes.
happy about it, because that means we get more royal people, which means enough of them will be around, and when the end of the world happens, we can have some, post-apocalyptic Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I would totally be okay with that. Kate Middleton is having her third child.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I thought you were talking about Harry and Harry's
they're-
girlfriend.
No.
If they get to 5 children, I think there's a conspiracy going on here, and she's having a litter, and the royal family actually is werewolves.
I like that reference.
Yes. Jared gets my reference.
I don't, so...
Doctor
Get
Who.
caught up, nerd.
I don't
Is it
watch
the
Doctor
direwolf
Who.
thing?
No, the Doctor Who theory is the royal family is all werewolves.
Oh.
Oh.
But they are.
They are, though.
They were born on a full moon.
They are.
It's kind of...
Anyways,
Everyone's born on a full moon.
I wasn't. I was born on a crescent.
I was born in a hurricane like a blues artist.
What the fuck, Jordan?
I was born way down in Orlando.
Damn it, you beat all the birth stories.
Yeah, I was born during a hurricane. I came out to exit lights because that was the only light was in the room because all the power was out.
God
Really?
damn it, Jordan.
Yeah.
You beat everyone's.
Yeah.
Welcome to Florida.
Welcome to Florida.
He's the embodiment of Florida, man.
I'm Florida man.
So
Florida man.
the room is,
It's bullshit.
but it's really good bullshit.
It's
Well, no, it's not even good bullshit.
Here's my question towards you, Kaul. So, is there another film you can think of that's come out in the past 10 years, let's say that gets close to being the par of The Room, that is seen theaters, graced the box office with its terribleness? Can you think of one? Even that, maybe the past 5 years, since we really started college, can you think of something?
Emoji movie?
I have not
Yes.
seen the Emoji Movie.
I
Yeah,
have. It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
It is a 2-hour-long advertisement.
Yeah, I know.
Oh God, it's 2 hours. I thought it was 80 minutes.
No.
Well, you also have...
I thought the Coco short was pretty bad. Was pretty laughable, but I don't know if it's laughably bad.
I like the Frozen's adventure short 20 minutes.
By the way,
movie
thank God it's
Frozen?
getting pulled
Good.
out.
The other one? No.
At least something pulled out
Yeah.
of Coco. Anyway,
Are you progressively going to get lower to the
Yes. I'm scared it's gonna drop.
well, anyway, while Katie's before Katie's mic drops,
Kate.
let's Kate. Did I say-
Katie Lynn, Katie Scarlett,
Damn
whatever the
it.
hell you want to call me, I really don't care.
Damn it. Okay.
I'll tell you about it later.
To answer your question, Jordan, I would say Twilight New Moon's pretty bad.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right.
No.
The 50 Shades,
The
50
first-
Shades Darker is pretty laughably bad.
That's true.
Wait, you went to saw 50 Shades?
Yes.
No.
I saw 50 Shades Darker.
See, he'll go see it.
I will have a podcast. I review movies on this podcast.
Kaul has a decent excuse.
And
okay?
I'm lonely, so I wouldn't watch it.
Oh, Transformers 4.
That's
That is
right.
Transformers 4 is so fundamentally fucked up.
Well, here's the thing. They had everybody's... All right, we're changing movies here. We had everybody's favorite from when they were a kid, the Dinobots. Everybody loved Grimlock. Loved Grimlock.
Well, who doesn't like dinosaurs?
That's why Jurassic Park's popular, even though it has some major plot holes.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Jurassic World has terrible plot holes.
But that's a conversation for later, Jordan. Okay. What were you
Next
saying?
time on Youth Critic.
Probably in June. Probably in June. Anyway.
Oh, in June.
So, what were you saying about Transformers 4? Oh, the Grimlock?
Yeah.
Well, Transformers 4, it's so fundamentally what the fuck. I mean, from the
That'd be an
Romeo
awesome
and Juliet
podcasting.
law
Yeah.
to John Goodman smoking a cigar. That actually does happen.
Hello?
To
We just had a mysterious visitor.
who is it?
Shields.
Shields.
Oh,
Agent Shield.
Agent Shield.
it's
Have
so
the recording light on.
it's so fundamentally. I mean, it's just everything. It just goes, and it's 2 hours and 45 minutes of holy what the fuck. It's
true.
essentially a Bollywood movie
Oh, yeah. That's
at
a good point.
times
That's a very good point.
because
I
it has
stopped
fucking
watching.
everything.
I forgot about the fact Bollywood movies are very close to this.
It's no what. That's the thing I think people misunderstood about Transformers 4 is that it's not a wonder why it did so well. It's just a wonder why they didn't make the fifth one the same way.
That's a good point.
Have
Or
you
why
guys-
we actually needed closure.
Okay.
We didn't need closure after the first one.
The first one was fine.
Yeah, the first
second
one was great.
good-ish.
Well, it was no shock they made a sequel.
Revenge of the Fallen was long, but okay.
And then...
And
It's
then
like Pirates of the Caribbean. The first three, wonderful films.
Ready?
Well, they all had a really
I'm
good
gonna debunk
director.
pirates.
You what?
Why is Pirates 1 the best one?
Because Jack Sparrow's the side character.
There you go.
And also, we didn't know
Learn
that we
your
were
place,
going to
Johnny
get this
Depp.
move. And also, we didn't know we were getting another swashbuckling movie.
Yeah, that's true. That theme is intoxicating, though.
And the sequels are just weird. They're
Yeah,
just
they are.
wonderfully weird.
I will argue on that all day. I love those movies.
I'm not saying they aren't entertaining, because The Room is entertaining. I'm not putting them on the par with The Room, but I'm saying that as they went on, they got weirder and weirder to the point where they're no longer a Pirates of the
But
Caribbean
it felt
theme.
like a sterile weird.
It was The Adventures of Jack Sparrow. That's what it became.
Yeah. Johnny Depp
I
makes the
mean,
bucks.
Pirates 3 opens with a kid getting hung.
That's true.
And not the sexual hung, people. God damn you.
You nasty.
I
Nobody's
never
thinking
said
of that.
Kale?
No.
Kale.
I was telling the perverts out there.
Kale.
We still are fighting perverts.
Kale.
What?
Nobody had that on their mind yet.
You nasty.
What?
They do now.
They do now.
God, oh,
that will be
God-
the last thing y'all think of
I'm
before
the
you go to sleep
worst.
tonight.
He was hung looking for the booty.
Anyways.
God.
All right, your life sentence is hung.
Okay.
Why speak sub? He's already hung. Why? Officer, please uncuff me so I can high five my wife.
All right. Let's wrap this up because we have a movie to go to in a little bit.
That's true.
So Jordan, do you want to do the announcement, the special
Yes.
announcement that we have?
So, I've been doing the road show here and there, but starting up next semester, so in the spring, I'm going to be interviewing a multitude of producers, directors, cinematographers, filmmakers, writers from the North Georgia area, and to be talking about their projects, their past work, what's it like to be in the industry. What's it like to be in the industry? What's the fears they have going in, the fears they had when they got there. Some of them have graduated and are already working there. But I'm going to be interviewing them, doing one-on-ones with them, and this is going to kick off at the end of all this. When I graduate, I'll be doing my podcast, which will be me focusing on things I'm doing in the industry, projects I can work on that I can talk about, talking with other filmmakers, bringing them on, and obviously working with these three because they're going to be part of my crew and my team. If you don't know, KHZ Productions is the other side of the coin to KHZ Network. KHZ Network is obviously the podcast you're listening to. KHZ Productions is the film side where I do producing and post-production. And there's a website for that. If you want to find it, it's www.khzproductions.com.
We'll put in the link in the description below.
Okay. And we're going to be interviewing that, and Kail's going to be helping with that, and so is Jared. And just keep an eye out for that. And we'll see how it goes from there.
I actually think I'm going to run the first interview in the
Kate
next
will
couple
be-
weeks.
No, don't. You didn't mention me the first time.
Kate will be helping me with
Kate
it.
is
but
our
she's
PR,
she's
public
PR,
relations
so she's gonna be helping
person.
me with the actual writing of it, not the recording of it.
She'll make sure that we don't fuck up.
And she'll proofread
That's
us
what I do
and,
anyways.
and say very nice things about nice people. And so she'll be helping with the writing part of it because I have a blog as well.
And Jared will also help us with podcasts and productions.
Yes, I will.
So yeah, and I actually have an interview that's going to come up in a couple weeks. I can't specify who and what because I don't know exactly when the interview will go up on the site. But there is an interview for a movie that I'm working on right now that's going to come out probably the week of Christmas. So with that said, we'll start with you, Kate. Where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. My Snapchat is pkate443. Instagram, pkate2016. And Twitter, I'm very new, so please be nice. kparker26037.
Jordan?
You can find me on Twitter at jhoodfilm. You can also find my website, as I mentioned earlier. And for any questions, you can obviously email at khznetwork.com, khznetwork@gmail. If you have any comments you want to send to me and Kail.
Jared?
You can find me on Facebook at Decibel Radio. You can also find me Monday through Friday till 8, Saturday and Sunday till 5 at shanko.com.
People that don't live in Georgia or in the South will not understand.
They're going to be like, but everybody else could be like, yeah.
on that note, you can find me on Twitter at MovieKale, and you can follow this podcast at the Youth Critic, and then you can also follow the channel that distributes this podcast at KHZ Network. And first of all, thank you, Jordan, for letting me do this for like 120 something episodes now.
No problem.
And we hope to have you back in the not so distant future.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be on here more. Like I said, I'll be doing my podcast, so hopefully they bleed over and we can have you on mine and talk to some directors. And you have projects you're working on yourself, so we're going to be talking to you and hopefully to Jared here about his project, which I'm currently building the website on. So that's what I've been doing this whole time. That's why I have not been talking as much, but I love doing podcasts. I'm doing them for 4 years now. I feel like a pro at this.
All right. And next week we will definitely be back talking about The Disaster Artist. It should be out around Tuesday. And then after that, we'll be talking Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Thanks, everyone. We will be back with you next week.
And before Grey Jedi.
What line? What line? Come on.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Okay.
Action.
What is line?
Take 13. Action.